Alright, welcome everybody to the NWO Show, your source for everything New World. We have a pretty awesome show planned today. There's going to be all kinds of cool shit happening. That we're already getting bombarded with new follows, so I want to thank the multiple people that just followed, because that's always awesome to see. I'm going to fix McLeod's video so that he shows up correctly. And yeah, so today we're going to showcase some of the New World content that we were able to get recorded during a special event that we were invited to earlier this year. It's going to be the expeditions, and then once the expeditions are over, we're going to talk about PvP. If you guys have any kind of questions or anything like that, feel free to ask. We're chill people. We're more than happy to answer just about anything. Anything that we can answer, given the limitations of the NDA. I also just realized that I have McLeod entirely muted, and I have fixed that. So.
Oh, really?
Yes, now they can hear you.
That's good.
Yeah. So. Hey, thanks for the bits, man. I really appreciate it.
Yay. Always loving the love.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that's a bit harsh, I think.
Oh. So, naturally,
I don't know whether that's a backhanded compliment or not. Sorry. I'm pushing this off the rails already. Sorry.
So, I want to hit on some Reddit news. I think the other Reddit managed to step in it today when they committed themselves to something.
Oh.
So the other Reddit, there were two posts that went up today. Same post on both Reddits by some random dude. And for those that don't know, the two subreddits have been in discussions to potentially merge. So there's been a lot of discussion, like, you know, hey, like, we got to think about this rationally. Like, let's pull emotion out of it. Let's pull, like, the massive amount of history out of it. And let's just talk, like, adults. And let's figure out, you know, how we can do this. And, like, for those that don't know, there was a deep-seated history between the two subs. The moderator team on the... hopefully this is the last time I ever have to say this name. r-new_world_MMO is almost entirely new. So, like, you know, every single one of them is new as of, like, a few months. Like, they're straight up. Yes, you can join the guild. Let me know in the Discord chat, and I'll give you the roles, and we'll get you added. So they're all new. So these guys, we don't have problems with them. Like, they're all chill dudes. They're awesome. But you know, prior issues between the subreddits, you know, the reason for the r-new world game, which is infinitely easier to see. Thanks for the follows, guys. This is making my day. Like, we're already off to the races. We got subs. We got follows. We got bits.
Loving
we
it.
got, you know, like, the whole works. I'm loving this. You know. So the reason the community fractured back in the day, like, if you look at the stats, they entirely fractured, and it was all due to two mods that were formerly in charge, and I don't think either of them still has an account on Reddit. One of them because he was promoting, like, super white nationalist pride, like, crap on like, other parts of the subreddit, and people were asking him to resign. So, like, that was a huge part of that. So, like, there's some deep-seated history there. People were looking for a place that was less toxic. I don't want to say, like, want to discuss the difference between toxic and negativity. Like, negativity is, I don't like this. I don't like X thing. Like, you know, grr hiss, like, you know, it's terrible. Which, okay, great. Like, you know, as a Reddit mod, congrats, you have an opinion. Like, don't care, I'll leave that up all day. Turn that around, Toxicity is when you go, McLeod's a freaking moron because X, Y. It's like, why? What? He's not a moron. Like, two lives.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's when you start like actually like actively attacking people, and specifically as well if you start just attacking people for like if you attack people in the sense of like it's just a statement of fact, like nothing really kind of
Exactly.
nothing really supporting it in any way, shape, or form. Like, oh, you're just a troll, or you're just a hater, that kind of thing, or that kind of thing. But like, that's getting into the realm of toxicity.
Yeah. So that's a
huge
So there's a huge difference there. Like it's super cringe. Like it's stuff that nobody wants to see. So like there was a huge demand for a place that people could go to talk about New World. And when I say huge demand, I mean like there was like 5,000 people in the Reddit community at the time. So like we're not talking large numbers here. But we were looking to make some place that was just good. Yeah. The only more recent footage than this is the IGN stuff about the Outpost Rush. That's the only more recent footage for PvP than what we'll show in a little bit here. Because I will skip through this because this is a rather long dungeon. So where the other subreddit kind of stepped in it is their head mod committed to the results of a poll that is currently live on Straw Poll that asks what subreddit should we keep. Well, as I'm not the main one, I can't commit to anything. So like I said, oh yeah, I'm interested in seeing how this goes. Like, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like here's like for those that haven't clicked and haven't voted yet, like there's an obvious answer to this because you're gonna get the same mod teams. We're just gonna merge. Like you're getting the same people, regardless, both ways. So it's really about, do you really want to say New World Game, or do you want to say new_world_MMO for the next 10 years? Like, I think we could agree.
Yeah,
what if this
really is
ridiculous?
It really is that simple, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
What's the Reddit again? Oh, it's new_world_MMO.
Yeah, it's just bonkers stupid. So like, and the current response in the negotiation room right now is it's been 2 hours. We want to give it a bit. It's just a base. We're talking about timeline at this point, but like just a base timeline. I'm sure you're gonna win. Battle's already lost. So kind of a big set of news. Like if they commit to this, it's going to be massive. Aze's group comes from 4chan. No, we don't.
I've never set foot in 4chan.
Yeah, I'm not a 4chan.
I know about it. I've heard about it. Like it's like you hear about it in the same way that you hear about like like neo-Nazis. Like. But just because you've heard about it doesn't mean that you are one. So I've heard about 4chan. Fuck if I'm gonna be a part of it or go to it. Like no way.
Awesome. We're adding all kinds of people to the guild. We just got another one here.
Nice.
And yeah, so I wanted to discuss that because like that is actually pretty big news, and like the voting is going one way for a specific reason. Like I don't want to toot my own horn, but like as like the super active mod on one of them, I feel like I've been doing an okay job of clipping out a lot of the toxicity while allowing people to still have a variety of opinion for or against the game. So like when I talk about like being able to build out the community, build out a positive place, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like You know, I care less if you like the game. Like, you could hate the game with an entire passion. My only thing that I care about is that you're civil to the person next to you, and that's, you know, what we've aimed for, what we've strived for, and I believe what the results of this poll are showing is that we've developed a place where people feel like that's the place to go, and that's the direction to go. So, really happy about that. And yeah, so let's this was the expedition content. Let's jump ahead. We'll jump into the PvP. You know, for those that don't know, this is dueling combat between us and the devs. I know the PvP duels is the title of the stream. I should add to that because I forgot to update the title. PvP duels plus expeditions. Q&A. Yeah. Yeah. So for those that don't know, the guys that I'm going against most of the time is either McLeod. I go against Redbird at one point, and all of the guys with NW in front of their names are New World devs. So like, you know, yes, and some other stuff to really note here. Some other stuff to really note here is that I have played a lot of this game. Like, holy Moses, I have played way more of this game than anything is ever reasonable. So when I dunk on people like this, it is entirely because like I could do this kind of stuff like looking away from the screen. Like, you know, I've got 3,000 hours playing this game. I'm hyped for this game to come out on Tuesday. Like, it's going to be awesome. So, from that, you know, I want to make sure that, like, people know there are times in this video where the devs beat me. They're beating players who have a lot of experience playing their game. Like, they don't just stick with one build, they move on to other stuff, and like eventually it showcases, and it's really cool. Like, have you mastered the musket? I think everybody's mastered the musket, but
I'd like to see you master the musket with over 100 ping though.
Yeah. Let me McLeod, do you have access to the stream elements, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Can you write a thing for the bot to like every 5 minutes remind people that like the footage that's playing is from the special event and is the most recent footage of PvP aside from the IGN video?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That's that way I don't have to say it every 10 minutes because it really is like this really is the selling point right now. Like, this is footage you cannot find elsewhere. We are, you know, fundamentally we had the opportunity at the end of our expedition where we're just kind of hanging out with the New World devs, and we're like, hey, you know, do you guys want to do some duels? You know, like, we can show you some of the other stuff we can show you is everything from like the trade mechanic between players, the full expedition if you want to hang out and do that. Like, you know, we can run through the entire expedition, like, because we've got all of this recorded. It's all recorded from, you know, my perspective with the Fire Staff Ice Gauntlet, but yeah. I'm pumped with the audience here. Like, we got a ton of people. We've already had a ton of follows, ton of subs. Like, it's and cheers at that. Like, it's, you guys are making my night again. Like, absolutely making my freaking day. Do you think the trade mechanic is a better choice than the loot bags? Absolutely. It's much cleaner. It reduces any ability for people to just run by and grab all of your gear. You know, if you accidentally took it off, which happened. Like, there's a reason the trade mechanic exists. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, it's infinitely better, infinitely better. Um, like, and there's so many little things like that they changed in between the preview and now that like people are gonna go in and they're gonna be like, oh hey, like I totally get this. This totally makes sense. Um, yeah. And if you guys, if like, here's the thing. There's 40. I can't ever really trust the number that Twitch's dashboard gives. There's like 45 people in the stream, maybe 39. I like. You never really know what the actual number is. If you guys have any questions, like straight up, feel free to ask. We will answer whatever we can within the binds of the NDA. What's the player cap for beta? The servers are capable of well over 1,000. And when I say well over 1,000, I mean there is no actual hard limit. What they're aiming for is a player density number. So fundamentally, what you're kind of going for is, there can only be so many people in the space before it feels crowded, and you don't want to hit that point, otherwise it's going to be really rough. Like you don't want, like, it would be like, if you let 15,000 people onto the map right now, you could carpet mine everything and remove every node on the map. So like you don't want that. So you want a certain amount of player density. Like how many people is too many is a question mark. Some of the alliances coming into the game are going to have more than 600 people. Totally. Like, I know in the past there've been mass alliances like my former alliance from EVE Online, Goonswarm Federation, came over. Or like there's been groups like that like there have been big groups. That said, you're gonna want to pick don't pick the mass populated server off the break if you're coming in with a massive group. So like hot take, it's like ballpark, I would bet they're gonna aim for 2,000 to 3,000 people on the server. I say Goonswarm, but realistically I was from Bastion. I joined Goonswarm much later for like a year and a half, and then I stopped playing EVE altogether. It's actually like, despite like the history, like, and there's like, for anybody that doesn't know anything about EVE, like there's a lot of history in EVE Online, and like the game is the definition of people going too far.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that is very true.
So
when you're cutting
negative there.
When you're cutting the telephone lines of another person's house, like you've gone too far.
Yeah. Like there, and that's most large scale alliances in EVE. That said, those large scale alliances are like, even like for the Imperium, you're talking like 38,000 people. So like, yeah. What do you think the advantage of a low pop or a high pop server will be? If you like playing solo, a low pop server is going to give you kind of a like, I'm more alone in the world feel. If you're on a high pop server, you're going to have, like, if you enjoy PvP, high pop is going to be like the place to be. But if you're bringing in like 1,000 bros who are all going to be on at the same time, then you're probably going to want to pick a low pop server, so that all of you can fit on the same server at the same time. But if you're like, if you've got 1,000 people and you've only got 100 people that are active at any point in time, you might be able to fit on like a mid pop server. Yeah. I worry the trade post won't be great on low pop servers. I mean, that is going to be one of the downfalls, is that with less people means there's going to be less people doing market stuff. That is definitely a trade-off. But I think that it's also an opportunity. as well. Like I'm a former market type, so for people that don't know me, when I played EVE Online, I retired with about 4 trillion ISK, which, putting that in perspective, your average Titan right before the industry changes recently cost you about 45 billion. And yes, I was not mistaken when I said trillion. So
Yes.
I could own what is effectively most alliances' entire super cap Titan fleet and every structure that they owned, and still have money to pay for their SRP for a couple of years. So
Yeah, it was a bit of a ridiculous sum of money that you ended up with.
yes. That said, I made almost all of that doing market stuff. So low pop servers, you're actually going to have a good opportunity there, because if you're a high quality crafter, you're going to be able to make stuff that people are going to want to buy, and you're going to have much less competition. That said, when you're running around the world and you're trying to take on a world boss that's there for a mission, and you're getting your ass handed to you over and over again, you're going to have a rough time because there's no one coming to help. Versus on a high pop server, there might be 10, 15 people that are, over the course of an hour and a half, 2 hours, running through and potentially trying to run that same mission or the same quest. So there's a lot of opportunity there for like ad hoc help from other people. There's also an opportunity for ad hoc people messing with you, like trailing a crap load of monsters towards you, and then there's that kind of stuff. Like it very much is a thing. This game desperately needed big raids, so for PvE content, you've got the five-man raids, or 5-man dungeons, which are the expeditions. And then, my personal opinion, they lack kind of this 20-man category, but they have the, in terms of like instance content at least, they lack the 20-man content, but for the PvE side, for the PvP side, they've got the Outpost Rush to fill that. And then they have the larger content with, I'm drawing a blank on it.
It's the 50. So you got the 50 on 50 as well, but like the invasions, is that, are they 100 versus the invasion or 50 versus the invasion?
50 versus the invasion.
Okay. So you have kind of well, I wouldn't call them raids, but they're basically like survival. It's almost like a survival mode, where you're trying to survive against waves of enemies, like waves of NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
And
now,
that's
said,
the
there is like open world content that does kind of aim at that 10 to 15 people range, where like you're gonna want a reasonably built out party to go rolling up through Mirkgard in the high level areas, because like that's just like it's a high level area. Like there's elite stuff. There's all the elite zones. The elite PvE is different than just PvE. Actually, I want to hit on one big thing. People complain that you're gonna see a wolf. You're gonna see wolves. There's no difference between fighting the wolves. There is. If the only thing you do is fight level 5 wolves, you're gonna have a static experience of fighting a level 5 wolf. I can tell you there is a massive difference fighting a level 5 wolf versus fighting a sorry about the auto mod. It only times you out for a second, I promise. I'm sorry. That also blew me off my train of thought. Fighting a level 50 wolf that looks like a freaking dog on pogo sticks is entirely different than fighting a level 5 wolf. Like, if you go to, like, this is similar to the preview, because a lot of people didn't get to this point and they didn't experience this. In the preview, if you fought a level 5 wolf, it's only got a certain amount of abilities that it's going to use on you. If you fight a level 60 wolf, it's unlocked all of its abilities. It's going to roll them all of the time. So when you go to attack a level 60 wolf with a bow, it is going to straight up dodge because it is intelligent. When you go to attack a level 5 wolf, it's there to help you learn how to swing at things. So there is a difference between the two, and trust me, it is massive.
Quite a big difference. When you start getting 2 or 3 of those, like high level wolves, like then things start to get like really crazy.
Yeah, if you don't dodge a wolf after level 40, they can delete you. You cannot slap it with no thought. Like, simply put, like, the higher level content gets much more difficult, and like you can assume that in the absence of stagger, you're also gonna need to learn to time your shit and dodge.
The thing, right? So the interesting thing is, part of me kind of thinks that like the lower level stuff should straight up just like fucking run away from you if you're like level 40. Like if you run into a wood, as a level say 50, right? If there's a level 4 wolf like there, it should straight up be like, fuck this shit, I'm wolf. Yeah. Like, it shouldn't think like, oh yeah, I'll take this guy out. Like, I'm just, yeah, because I have a strange feeling that like there will be those people who are level 40 who just, there'll be those people who are max level who just like go around killing bison, like like low level bison. I don't know who those people are, but they're assholes.
So returning to the duels that's going on here, I want to address a couple of things. People are gonna sit here and be like, hey, you're dealing a lot of damage. I'm also an entirely glass cannon build.
You don't actually have that much health. To be fair.
I don't have that much health. So
but you hit like a truck.
I hit like a truck, but when I take damage, I really take damage.
So yeah. So the interesting thing that the way that your character's built is, you hit like a truck. Basically, most of your attribute points are in intelligence, which is basically increasing the damage of your fire staff. Mine is part mixed between intelligence and dexterity, right? So I have probably about half the attribute points that you have, because it's like it's subdivided into at least 2 different things. So mine doesn't really hit that well, anywhere near as strong as yours.
Yes,
You'll kind of see, and plus I'm trying to shoot you with a musket.
I saw that hip fire right there, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. That was actually a bad call for me, because like that hip fire like literally sort of slows you the fuck down. So that was a bad call for me. But like you could see the ping difference in my shots. Like my shots were literally going wide for me like pretty consistently.
Yeah. Now one of the things to note there is McLeod is playing from London, and this is an East Coast server, so like there's some ping involved there.
Just enough.
It's not a miserable experience, but it does impact it. He does beat me. I think he beat me at least once.
I literally can't remember.
I know Junie ends up like Junie switches his build up and he starts actually beating me.
Yeah, he fucks you up with a bow and fucks you up with a rapier as well. That I remember.
Like one of the things to note is that like even though it appears as though I'm god at this, because like it's almost like I've played a lot of this game. These devs are actually legit good at it too, and they know what they're doing. Eventually, they switch to the bow, they switch to the rapier, and they start equally trading with me, and they start baiting out attacks and baiting out abilities, which really makes a big impact on being able to win fights. So like fighting somebody with a fire staff, if you don't bait out the incinerate, where it's the drop the staff down and it does the whirlwind around them, which does massive amounts of damage. Because it like with the skills on the tree the way they are, does double hit. So like it's gonna hit you for a decent amount of damage. That said, if you bait that and I blow it without hitting you, now I need to dodge you and I need to stay away from you for a while until that cools down, which changes things pretty dramatically. Absolutely changes things. So knowing how to like get people to kick this off again.
So I think there's definitely things that I've learned. There's definitely weapons that I feel like I've learned that probably shouldn't be played with a high ping kind of thing. Those are definitely something like the musket. The bow, not so much. The bow it's a little bit more versatile, but definitely the musket and definitely the rapier. So chances are I'm not going to be running dexterity builds. I'm probably going to be running something that has a little bit more AOE, so probably intel.
One of the reasons for this event I went with the Fire Staff Ice Gauntlet combo was that the Ice Gauntlet was brand new and the Fire Staff uses intel as well, so I might as well showcase that content. But for the actual game, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go dexterity build, like a dex constitution build, basically.
Well, you're practically on top of the server, so you have no excuse.
Yeah, I've got no excuse. The East Coast server is out of Dulles, which is like just outside of Washington D.C., and I live in a suburb of Washington D.C., so I literally have one of the best pings you could get, aside from being like jacked into the server. So absolutely the hammer, the great axe, sword and board are going to be much more forgiving for people with higher McLeod, did you copy the cloud ping thing from yesterday?
The cloud ping from yesterday.
The one that does all of the AWS service centers.
Oh right. No, but I'll find it.
We're gonna find you a tool, because there's a really cool tool that I've got it. That will allow you to ping all of the different AWS servers. And as long as you know the cities of the servers, not just US East, but the city of the exact server they're using, then you can use that tool right there, cloudping.info, and it'll you hit the ping button and it'll tell you which of the AWS service centers is closest to you, via which one's the lowest number. The West Coast is Portland, East Coast is Washington D.C., EU is Frankfurt, Germany. It seems full melee builds will have a hard time. It heavily depends. Heavily depends. So one of the things that isn't showcased here is hard tanks, like full Constitution build tanks. That is when in terms of glass cannons, that's a potential counter. On top of that, if people have the right gear, so a lot of these guys have plate mail, so Junie has plate mail a number of times. That's going to have really good resistances against your slashing weapons and melee type weapons. However, it's going to have pretty shit resistances against elemental, which is what I'm hitting them with. So if you're wearing something that has elemental resistances, and you're going against somebody who is entirely intel build, you're going to potentially have a better fight.
I think it was that previously there was some patches that have recently changed that and just made it so that they're pretty strong uniformly. But the thing is, those are just resistances you need to be stacking a lot of attribute points in Constitution in order to actually really maximize that. Because the thing is, there's aspects of the the sort of damage kind of modeling when it comes to sort of PvP. That means that critical hits like basically negate or like the resistances of your your armor, for example. So if you're running thick armor, if you're running big armor, right, but you have like no points in Constitution, like someone gets a critical hit on you, like you're fucked, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And there's things that improve and improve and make your chance of getting critical hits worse as well. So there's a lot of interesting nuances that come with the combat system and the armor and weapon systems.
Is there directional influence with rolling? Yes, you can basically pick the direction you roll. How do we feel about the changes to the auto sprint stamina change? I actually. So we can talk about it in concept. We can't because this isn't that version. This is the version that we were allowed to play based on the expedition event.
I mean, we went through it when it came to the patch notes that when it came out. I remember saying that I was unsure as to whether this would be good or not. I remain skeptical.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll definitely see on Tuesday for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because
so
I like the idea of being able to sprint when I want to sprint.
I think it's actually kind of a healthy idea, and here's why. So, first and foremost, like, don't take my opinion. Simply put, like, this is like the last thing that like any like YouTuber, streamer, whatever should tell you is don't take my opinion. Because why don't take my opinion? Because it's going to be entirely up to your feel. Like, your hands on the keyboard, your, hey, does this feel right to me? Like, does it feel right to me? Maybe. Does it feel right to you? I don't know. I'm not you. So, like, one of the cool things here is that we all get a chance to try the beta, and then you get to decide for yourself. Like, and I know that that's, like, the biggest cop-out answer in terms of answering that, because, it really is a feel thing. I think that it provides a lot of benefits in terms of, your ranged players can potentially be caught because, they can't just instantly start running away after they fire their weapons. They have to move away. They have to kind of like time their distance, time their shots. It's a lot more mechanics heavy on whether or not it's going to work out for them. How loudly should we complain on the forums if we don't like it? I mean,
loudly as you want, man.
Exactly.
As loudly as you want to.
And so here's the thing. Like, and I've found that this works. This works. If you go onto the forums and say the new, sprint mechanic sucks, and that's all you put, they're not going to listen. Because here, from a mechanical standpoint, if you tell me that you don't like the poster of Ron Burgundy, it doesn't tell me why. It doesn't tell me what I could change. It doesn't tell me what else I could put up there. It just tells me that, you like not liking things. Like,
yeah, you also have to understand as well that, like, especially this day and age as well, when it comes to the level of the fan mentality, you can have an influencer kind of basically say, like, guys, go out there and shout at the devs on the forums and say that this needs to change. And if it does need to change, like, people should be able to say why it needs to change, not just that it needs to change. So it's a case of, if you want to be heard, if you want your kind of your opinion to matter, you need to be able to show that you understand why that needs to change, or why
Hey, thanks
something
for the
needs to
follow-up,
change,
by
and
the
not
way.
just and not just look as though you are like basically a sheep.
Yep.
You know,
Give them feedback that's actionable. I don't like
Yeah.
X mechanic because it makes me feel like I can't get away, or it makes me feel like I can't do something, or I don't think that this weapon is powerful enough because compared to X weapons, it seems like everything counters it and it counters nothing. Like like if you give them something that's actionable, they're totally going to be able to potentially move on that. But you got to give them detailed, thought out things to go over, not I hate X. Okay, well, I hate my X too, so. Oh, McLeod gets that joke more than anyone else.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's because McLeod knows that I was almost married once, so in terms
Oddly
of
enough,
playing
you
with in
dodged a
terms of
bullet
playing
there.
with muskets, I dodged that freaking bullet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good times. Yeah, most. So here's the other thing: forums.newworld.com. Like, if you want your voice heard, that's where they're listening. Like, fundamentally. Sure, they're going to be looking at Twitter, they're going to be looking at the subreddits, they're going to be looking at all kinds of other things. But if you want your voice 100% heard, not saying they're going to listen and fulfill your every dream, because some people come into this and they're like, I want this game to have all of these things that this other game had because like I love this other game. Well, here's the thing, it's not the other game. Like, it can't be. It's literally its own IP. It's got its own thing. Like, but sure, it might have a better system that like they could say, hey, this is a better system because this, and this. Could you consider implementing, this and this way that would alter the way you do things? And that would be game changing in whether or not they're going to listen to you. Yeah. Most builds seem. They really need more weapons. I agree. I 100% agree. I think they need at least 3 more weapons. Actually, caveat 5. The only reason I say that is it makes the list even.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
If you add 1, they're all even. But if you don't add 1, then they're not even. And from there, you would need to add another 4, which, yeah.
Are you talking in terms of groups?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That said, I do think they need more weapons. I believe that they are working on that. I really do, because in the past, and like we can show you the concept art for it, maces are a thing. Like, we have the concept art for them. Like if you're looking for concept art for weapons, by the way, we have it on the Discord. Feel free to join. It's all there. What weapons do I think they need? I think they need crossbow for one. In terms of another ranged, I think so pistols for sure. 100% agree with chat here.
Pistols,
like pistols should be a thing. They're already kind of in the game, but not for players. Like NPCs have them.
Yeah, good point.
They've had them since the preview, so like don't kill me for I think daggers would be a great thing to add. Yes, I think potentially a blunderbuss of some kind.
But the thing is, where would dagger play be? Like
Oh, it'd be similar. It's similar to a hatchet, but much like the agile hatchet builds, where like you're getting in close, but you're doing a lot of dodging, and the abilities would like circle around people and like.
Would it be like dual wield, like 2-handed kind of thing? Like,
yeah,
or would
that'd
it
be cool.
Be like a single dagger?
Yeah, dual wield would be cool shit. Like, that'd be awesome. And then I think that we're gonna start seeing more magic weapons as well. There's been a ton of talk of various things around like potentially a void gauntlet, or like a void
I mean,
staff or
well,
something like that, or
so
like a lightning staff, or like basically elemental stuff. Like if the moats are there, that kind of makes sense lore wise to add it as a
yeah,
potential
because
weapon. So like,
I was gonna say, like, there's particular moats, and like we have had, like, there's water moats, there's fire moats. So we've got a fire staff, we've got an ice gauntlet, so that's obviously the water kind of side of things. Like we have,
cutlass would be pretty
like,
similar
what
to
are
a
the other
rapier.
moats? What are the other moats that we have? Like we have air moats, we have like death moats, soul moats, and what else was there?
I do think a two-handed sword would be really good as well. I also
Yeah.
think so my big thing. So like back in the day, I used to do a lot of what's called boffer fights, which are basically the foam weapons beating the crap out of each other. My weapon of choice and like my dream, especially since they added Ebonsgill Reach, which is the new area that's kind of Asian influenced. If they added a naginata, which a naginata is a pole weapon with a blade on the end. Like,
oh right, yeah,
straight up
no, I remember
awesome
seeing it, and it's
weapon.
got that kind of like, yeah, I remember seeing those.
You
Yeah,
know, large
those are pretty good.
sweeping motion.
Fucking
It's
ninja
not
stars,
really a
man.
stabbing weapon. Ninja stars would be kind of cool. Like, so like there's a ton of opportunity there for things that they could do. Hey, thanks for the follow. Like, I want to put this out there because like the last 4 days of streaming here have been an entirely different feel from the last year and a half, and I just want to say thank you to everybody for the just epic amount of support. Like, I know that in the coming days there's going to be a ton of really big YouTubers and streamers and all of that playing New World, and like it means a lot that we're getting the following, we're getting people the information, and we're helping to build the community. That's really what we're here for. That's why we've been doing this for a year and a half. So for all the new people, like, we have episodes on our YouTube that have literally been saved from not this January, but the one before that. Like, we started this long ago. That was when we thought we had 4 months until launch. How adorable of us.
Yeah.
Is it just you two that run the channel? So we do also have a couple of moderators. I appreciate the comments on the voice, guys. Like, it's not changed or anything. Like, I just kind of have this like natural, like, apparently books on tape voice. So like I do actually appreciate that. One of the funny, I saw a really funny meme the other day. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Really funny meme the other day. And somebody was like, it was commenting on guys catcalling women, and like the guy insults, does something rather vulgar, and the other guy turns to him and goes, "When was the last time you ever received a compliment?" Like, as guys, we just don't get them. Like, like I know that, like, obviously, like, it's a bad thing to like catcall women. That's a terrible thing to do. Like, but at the same time, like, if I was walking down the road and somebody catcalled me, oh man, oh, straight to the heart. I'm running off that compliment for a week at least.
There'd be a bit of a confidence booster there.
Yeah. So like, hot take. Thank you.
Very much appreciate the support.
Oh yeah.
Basically,
and it is a pretty sexy hat. Yeah. McLeod's is pretty awesome too. I've heard that the build trees might be changed based on like whatever they do on Monday or on Tuesday. So 9 a.m. Pacific time, there's a dev stream. Be there. There will be a Twitch drop. They've already confirmed it, which means like exclusive shit probably to the launch. Like, you know, that's going to be a really big thing. I would totally suggest keeping an eye on that, having it on hand, like, and then from there, at what is it, 9:30 a.m. 30 minutes after, they're going to do their whole like live stream for 30 minutes, talk about like, hey, welcome to the beta, blah blah blah. Scott's going to do a whole thing, and then they're going to launch the beta at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. So that's why, like, for people who keep freaking out that, oh my god, my Twitch keeps telling me that it's coming out on August 1st, depending on where you are on the planet, 9 a.m. Pacific time is potentially a different day.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
So,
well, actually, no, I don't think it is. Well, yeah, okay, yeah, no, yeah.
There's
depends
24
exactly
hours in
where
a day,
you
you're
are.
already 9 hours in.
Yeah.
And if it's 9 hours in there, it means there is potentially 9 hours on the other side of that is another day. So
yeah, if you're in Japan, like, you know, it's probably going to be the next day.
Mm-hmm. So that's a really big one. You know, it's frequent on the subreddit that like people would be like, oh my god, it changed to the next day. It's like, no, they didn't delay it, guys. It's literally just your time zone. And if for some reason you happen to be at the wrong spot or the right spot on the planet, whichever way you take it, yeah, you're gonna get it the next day, because unfortunately that's just how time zones work.
Yep.
Were you guys in the alpha? Yes. Can you comment on the PvP balance issues? No. I can only comment on what you're seeing here, which is experience that we had that was a version of the alpha, which was considered a special event that we were able to run for the expedition content. So what you're seeing here is about as new of PvP content as you can find, with the exception of the IGN video. The IGN video being the one where they talk about Outpost Rush. And actually I can find that quick too.
I was just I was looking at that duel that you had, and you got you had a pretty heavy shot hit into you at one point, and then yeah, that was actually a pretty good fight.
Let me get this past whatever crappy or crappy thing that this is trying to sell me. Alright, so this is about as new as it gets. This is as new as it gets. We're going to crank the quality of this up. This is IGN's coverage. So to clarify, this is not our video anymore. This is IGN's coverage covering Outpost Rush. This is about as new as it gets. This has the stagger changes. This has the stagger changes were already in the other one too, but this has the sprint changes and stamina changes in it. So it's much more new in terms of like that front of things. That said, it's also showcasing Outpost Rush. To pre-answer some questions about Outpost Rush before they come up, Outpost Rush is level 60 content. Meaning it's going to take you a while to get to it. It is 20v20. Holy Moses. Thank you for the epic raid of 193.
Oh, God damn. Welcome, everybody.
And that's my day right there, made.
Mm-hmm.
Outpost Rush. Level 60 content. Fundamentally one of the most fun things you can do in the game. That said, it's going to be for later on. Now, the other thing is, if you rush to level 60, you're gonna have to wait for other people. The epic amount of follows that are coming in right now is like blowing my friggin' mind. Thank you guys for the awesome support.
Just for support, dudes.
You know, you can queue up. One of the cool things in this video, they actually show this, where you can run around, you can do other things, you can queue up for Outpost Rush and wait for other people to join.
Yeah, and then just go and do anything else in the open world at the time. And you know, when it comes time to actually,
thank you, Zizat, for the epic raid. Like straight up, that's you have made my night.
But yeah, like so what we were saying, the outpost rush, you can actually queue up for them, and you don't have to sit there and wait for it. Like you can literally go out and do your usual kind of thing in the open world, like while that queues up, and when it comes time to actually go in and play outpost rush, like you'll get a pop up basically saying like basically essentially to confirm that you want to go in to play outpost rush, and then it will pull you in.
Absolutely. So
cheers for the 300.
For the bits, awesome. Many thanks, guys.
Nice.
Like the amount of support that's coming out, like literally, I'm aghast. Like this is wonderful. Like I'm blown away. So some of the cool things with Outpost Rush, you can join solo. It's gonna put you on a team. It's matchmaking, teams of 20. You can join with up to a group of 5. So you join as a group with all 5 people in your pre-made group, and then it'll queue up, and then it'll match you with other people so that it can create a lobby of 20v20. It really is awesome content. I would suggest people understand that really is a cool thing to do. It really is fun. It really is something that you should get to level 60 to do. For the people that rush 60, you might have to wait a little bit until there's enough people on your server to join that game.
I'm hoping that
enough people on your server that have hit level 60 that are also going to do Outpost Rush at the same time.
I mean, if it's
for the record,
if it's
we have set a new record for the stream here. There's now 211 people watching, which for a show that as of 3 weeks ago was streaming to 25-30, you guys are straight up blowing my mind. 100%.
Thank you for that. Anyway, one of the other kind of things in terms of Outpost Rush that you have to understand is it's basically PvPvE, because there is an element of fighting NPCs in there, and doing sort of some PvE activity. It's not necessary, it's optional, very much optional, but essentially what you can do is you can gather resources to be able to fortify positions, and to also build large gun emplacements, large turret emplacements, to be able to both defend an outpost and also to attack outposts. So there's areas outside of the outpost where you can actually build guns to take down essentially the gates and that kind of thing. So it's really cool.
Subs,
it is really cool.
New World Fans is a phenomenal website to use. We know the guys who work on that. They're paired up with Taken is the guy who's really kind of been the head of that. He knows his stuff. It's tons of really good resources. NewWorldFans.com. Crown, one of our moderators, just put that in chat. So straight up, great website, 100% recommended. And if you want to dive into the lore, they've got a bunch of the lore pages from the preview event on there. So that's a great place to go as well.
That may or may not change during the beta. We have no idea, but those lore pages are the only the most recent sort of stuff that we have.
Oh yeah.
That the community has, let's put it that way.
in it number 1.
Yes. Hey, Unsung. That's so random.
Yeah. So, some other really cool stuff. Outpost Rush also has exclusive content. So exclusive cosmetics and gear that you can only get doing Outpost Rush. This is the same with expeditions. This is the same with a variety of content like wars and invasions. For some reason, I keep forgetting invasions. Just the word is elusive to me for some reason. But anyways, all of these different modes have gear that you can literally only get while doing them.
Yeah.
So that is huge. You can't buy it, you can't, etc. You have to go play Outpost Rush to get the Outpost Rush gear. You have to go play the Amaran Expedition to get the Amaran Expedition gear. You have to go play the other expeditions to get their specific gear sets. If you like those cosmetics, those are going to be things that you have to do to go get those, which is really fun, you know. And fundamentally, it's actually what people asked for. You know, I've said this a number of times that people asked for an area that they can go that has PvP all of the time.
Yeah.
So now there is a 20v20 PvP all of the time area of the map that you can be teleported to for, you know, for Outpost Rush, where you're going to need to gather stuff. You're going to be building forts. You're going to be defending forts. You're going to be attacking forts. You're going to be killing NPCs. You're going to be taking down trees. You're going to be mining
killing
Azov,
killing other people,
yes.
other players, and taking the stuff that they've been you know, what's the word?
That they've been trying to
gathering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is going to be crazy. The other thing, you know, as chat's talking about here, New World does have proximity chat. So
actually,
like, if
that's
you're
a
running
really
around,
good point.
you can chat with people. You know?
That is a really good point. Like, and it's not just proximity chat, proximity voice as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is an important
voice,
thing.
yeah.
You know, a lot of games have chat, have global chat, have, like, you know, region chat, or you know, sort of like area chat, like, you know, just text chat, right? But like, when you have proximity voice, like, there's a degree of interesting sort of conversate. Well, I say interesting conversations. What I'd say is interesting sort of encounters with people. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
You know, I would recommend you sort of try and keep the toxicity to a minimum, and you know, try and be as classy as you can be at most. You know, as and when you can, obviously. Only because you know, you never know who's listening, because it is proximity chat, and you know, there probably will be devs flying around every so often and checking stuff out, and you know, I'm fairly certain that there probably will be some degree of reporting available. So yeah, just don't be dumb and start, like, you know, end bombing and all that kind of stuff, because that will not end well for you. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. That will
but
not
other than
end
that,
well
like,
for you. Yeah. I believe Amazon signed like a pledge or like their community, you know, community goals and stuff like that, or like to build and foster like a relatively decent community. Like, you know, of course that's everybody's goal. Like, but at the same time, like, just don't be a dick. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's a number of people that have come to the subreddit just to have their tears laughed at. You know, I got banned from the alpha. Like, you know, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Like, congrats. Like,
and it was warranted.
You know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like, you know, you want to make a bet with a dev, game on. Like,
that is such a great phrase. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Oh yeah. There really is. Yeah, they really are aiming for that. So for those that don't know, I've got a pretty wide array of screens here. So like, whenever I'm like looking way off to the side here, like, one screen ends here, the other screen ends over here. So like, the camera's over here, so occasionally like I'm looking like deep this way. I'm trying to track a poll that's currently going on that's talking about the subreddit. Because the other subreddit's main mod decided that they were going to commit to this poll on, like, you know, if they lose, they'll close down and merge. Which,
oh shit, really?
Like, yeah. So like,
I
that's
didn't even realize. I thought it was just some random mod. Like,
and,
I didn't realize how much of that.
So like, there's dueling stuff on now, but I'm gonna quick flash this on screen. Like, somebody thought that poll was gonna go a different direction. Yeah. Good times.
I hope there isn't any funny business going on with that poll. Yeah.
So yeah, great times. So let's talk PvP. Because people's fear, like, not this January, last January. So 2020 January, they announced changes to New World that were fundamentally different.
Oh yeah, those ones.
Alpha 1 ended with no fanfare, and they came back in December of 2019 and said, hey, we're coming back with a vengeance. And they started releasing dev blogs in December and January, and all of a sudden they start talking about, hey, we have changed PvP. It went from always on PvP, like Rust style, to you need to flag. Yeah. And how you flag, to clarify this, is in a settlement, you can flag and then you leave the settlement. You have a little bit of grace period, and then you are flagged for PvP. Other people who are PvP set up, they've all flagged for it, can combat with you. Now, if you respawn in a settlement, you can then turn it off, or if you run back to a settlement, you can turn it off, but you can't just flip it off for no reason. Like, you have to actually go back to a settlement to turn it on and off. That is by design, so that I can't be like, oh, here's this thing that I've been doing, and then, oh, there's people around me, turn it off. No, none of that.
You can't just go in, attack somebody, and if it goes badly, it doesn't go your way, just turn PvP off. Like that would be an abuse of the system. So, nope.
Absolutely. For the record, you guys just set up a holy Moses. You guys just set up a recently achieved milestone for our Twitch page.
That's
and that
nice.
That Twitch thing, for at least a short amount of time, registered the stream at 250 viewers at the same time, which is about 8 times as many viewers as we normally get. So one could say there's a little bit of hype, and of course there's the epic raid of, I think it was like 150, 170, like, just an awesome thing to do, like straight up.
The thing that I really like about this is, like, because I've done raids, and I've done raids on other channels, with being the streamer of sort of some Evil 9 channels and stuff like that. But like, I've done sort of raids of channels, and I've been in channels that have gotten raided, and it's very often that you will have a raid and then not many people will stick around, and I'm really cool. I like it. It makes me happy to see that so many people have stayed and chilled and sticking around. So that's cool, man. I hope you're liking the content. I hope you're liking what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Now, if you want to watch us later on, hit the follow button, leave the bell on, or join the Discord, because we'll ping out on the Discord. If you're looking for a company to join, we're going to be Covenant East Coast. We haven't quite picked a server yet, but be more than happy to bring people in. We've got plenty of space in the company, and be more than happy to have you guys. So if you're interested in going Covenant on the East Coast, join the Discord. Let it be known. We'll add you to the group, and hopefully we can take some territory and have some fun.
There's also just in general, like, good conversation stuff going on there, and there's a bunch of kind of cool automatic feeds and stuff like that. So it's in general is a pretty cool place to have as a Discord.
Absolutely.
Just a thing.
I just got an email from Twitch asking me what's going on. That's fun.
Do you think?
Like, apparently, when you set up a stream and you've got a pretty consistent thing going, all of a sudden you blow out all of your statistics, and and that they send a "Hey, how's everything going?" comment.
Yeah.
Things you didn't know.
As things you didn't know as a moderately small streamer, I'd imagine. Like a yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Absolutely. So,
if you guys have the other thing
is,
the
other kind of thing, it's going to be hard to get this hat from me. Like, this was a straight up gift from Amazon Games. Like, you actually cannot buy this hat anywhere. It's not in their merch store at all. You can buy shirts and sweatshirts and that off of Amazon. You can see the link below. That's an affiliate link. Where, like, we are actually supported by Amazon in some ways, so like there's an incentive there, but at the same time, like, that support is limited to the Amazon affiliate program, which is referring traffic to them. as well as we have received some of the animations and stuff like that for our show are from Amazon Game Studio through the Creator Program.
Which is a cool
we
program.
will have an event in which we're
Yeah.
going to have a dev on to talk about the Creator Program at some point in time. Right now, they're silly busy with some other stuff. So
wonder what stuff that might be.
they might have a number of major Twitch streamers that definitely are more important than me, like in the grand scheme of this launch and like the hype build and all of that. Like,
yeah, and that's totally understandable, to be completely honest. So yeah.
Are there worthwhile incentives to flag? Killing people gains you XP.
Yeah.
And like a good amount of it. That said, killing the same person over and over again gets reduced XP. So like, you can't farm it, super effectively if you're just like trying to kill the same two dudes over and over again. Other than that, like, the PvP missions from like your faction and stuff like that are totally worth doing. They're totally worth the effort. And that's by design as well. Like, obviously, like, if you're going to risk additional things, you're going to get additional stuff. The other benefit here is that if you were flagged for PvP and you die to another player, you have a reduced amount of durability damage to your gear. So not only are they giving you stuff for PvPing, but they're also, like, taking away a little bit of the downside for PvP. So that's a big thing. The other big thing to note is that if you die in things like wars, not expeditions, wars, outpost rush, and invasions, you don't take durability loss because they're expecting you to die a few times. And it would suck if you didn't have, if you were on like the last legs of your gear and like you lost it mid thing, like that would really suck. Yeah, if you're alive for a longer time, people are going to get a bigger reward for killing you. I believe that is the case. I think they talked about that in the dev blog. Yes, there is also like, go on, do faction missions. Like the first few generally give you like a bonus. There's also rested XP. So for the more casual players among us, which there's probably a few, when you go to stop playing the game for the night, 8 hours later, you start accruing what's called rested XP. It's not gain. You don't gain this XP. It becomes a pool of XP that you earn faster. So, the next time you log in, you might have, if you've been away for, 28 hours, you've got 20% of a level that you'll get at double speed, per se, or whatever speed they pick. Utilizing that, you then have to go out into the world to go get that XP. So, like, back, like, we're going to hit on the whole pay-to-win topic here. Talking about rested XP, when it comes to pay-to-win, rested XP is the opposite of pay-to-win. Like, even if you buffed it, it's fundamentally different. Like, massive difference, because even if you buff the rate that you get it, it's buffing the time that you're not playing, and you still have a cap on it. You still have to come back and actually do stuff to gain that XP. So, like, it is what it is. It is in no way a pay to win. To clarify any additional concerns there is nothing in the cash shop on launch that will be any kind of anything other than cosmetic until at least 2022 is what they said. So we're going to get at least a few months where there's nothing additional. They might add some other stuff, but again, don't freak out until you actually know how that system works. Because if you didn't know how rested XP works, you would sit there and be like, oh, well, like, of course, like, it's just an XP bonus. Like, oh, raise hell about it. Like, but that's not the case. Yeah. Like, rested XP is obviously not pay to win. Like, it's a really elegant way of buffing a casual player's gameplay and eventually enabling them to get to level 60 while not making it something that
while
can be
having a
gamed
life.
by gamed by people who are going to play the game 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
Now, there's always, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, there are certain things that are going to get my blood pressure up that, like, don't get other people's, and there are certain things that, like, I just don't care about, like, because they're just industry standards at this point. So, like, cosmetics in the cash shop. Sure, there's going to be cosmetics in the cash shop. There's cosmetics in just about every game's cash shop. Like, that's how companies make a lot of money. So, like, of course they're going to do it. Would I like them to not do it? Sure. But, like, are they going to do it? Yeah. It's like an industry standard. Industry standard. Gain as much profit as possible while still having a game that people are going to play for as long as physically possible. Like, and the thing is, the longer people play a game, i.e., like, if they play a game for 15 years, you are going to get more money off of them in the long term. Like, that's the industry inside secret to like, gaming. It's not a, like, hit it and quit it, type thing. You wanna get it, and you wanna get somebody in. You wanna keep them there long term. EVE Online is a perfect example of this. Because you start getting the sunk cost fallacy, where I've already paid so much to play this game over the years, I can't possibly quit. When in reality, you're going to stay for another few years, spend just as much money, and now you've paid double when you could have gotten out. So, like, there's things that the community definitely knows, and the industry knows that they can get away with. That said, do I like it? No. Do I think that all of the best gear and all of the best cosmetics are going to be in the cash shop? God, no. There are so many cosmetics in this game that you have no idea. It's going to be wonderful. Like, straight up, be watching that. That said, if they sell me I run a company called the Ninth Legion. So, like, if they sell a Roman Legionnaire skin in the cash shop, yeah, I'm probably going to buy it. Like, is what it is. Will there be a transmog system? I don't actually know if that... I think there's a thing, like, in the works, maybe? I don't know if they've announced anything on that, though. But yeah. So, one of the things, like, obviously we're riffing off chat here because, like, you guys have questions, we've got answers. We're going to answer whatever we possibly can, keeping in mind that we do have an NDA that we're abiding by. So, like, if we answer something in a way that doesn't give a full answer, it means we can't give a full answer. We'd love to, but, like, we can't. So, yeah.
It's just one of those things. One of the questions that kind of came up was, sort of wondering as to whether, essentially, whether sort of, status effects on, like, say, an enemy that hostile that you're fighting, stays on it even if you switch weapons and apply another status effect. So, the kind of the scenario that Frankie was talking about was if he applies a bleed with a rapier, and he switches to, for example, the the spear, and then applies another bleed effect, whether those two bleed effects stay on. I think they do. I'm not 100% certain because I don't know how. I know for a fact that you can apply multiple bleeds because you can apply different bleed stacks with the rapier and then pop all of those bleed stacks at once. That's one of the major advantages with the rapier. So you can have multiple stacks of bleed, and it makes sense that as you see in the footage that when you apply an ice effect to somebody and then switch over to a fire staff and apply a burn, like those two stick. So it makes sense that both bleeds will stick as well.
Can you keep earning skill points past level 60? Or weapon skill points. So, okay, there are multiple different progression systems. So your character getting to level 60 is one progression system. Your weapons leveling to various different levels. I'm going to jump to a different point in the video here to showcase this. You know, your weapons leveling to different levels are completely independent of that. Yeah. So, you know, as you use a weapon, you gain XP with that weapon. So this is why there's no classes in New World. Like there's no classes. You can be a level 20 expert in all weapons. It's going to take you a while to grind all of the XP for all of them.
Yeah, but if you look at the footage there, you're at level 14 of 20, right? So, you know, in each level you basically get the ability to, you know, to add something to that from that tree to like your ability skill set, like whether it's an active skill that you can choose to you know, to activate at a particular time. Those are basically just like you know, specials that you could kind of consider them to be specials. You know, from, you know, in the same way that other games have like specials. But there's also ones which are passive skills as well, which are always running.
Yeah, at level 20 on the weapon XP, it'll stop gaining XP because it's maxed out level. That said, when you hit level 60, you might have like a level 15 or like a level 5 weapon. You can continue to grind on that weapon and get it to higher skill and you know, get it to the level 20. Like it doesn't stop your progression at all. I do want to hit on one thing in chat quick.
Okay.
It touches back on the like payment models and stuff for gaming and the gaming industry stuff. Mm-hmm. I would love. So here's the thing. The idea behind a subscription, which New World doesn't have, the idea behind a subscription is that is all you need to pay them. Like, conceptually. I would love that concept to be practiced. The reality is that concept is, here's the thing we do, but also here's this other thing that we sell, here's this other thing that we sell, here's this thing that we're going to sell in 6 months, here's this thing that we're going to add to the store, here's this other thing, and they've got a whole plan to add more shit. Like, you want to see how that train ends? Look at EVE Online right now. Like, subscription-based game, adds cash shop, adds skill points, straight for sale, adds blah blah blah, like all of those things. That's how subs eventually go. It is what it is because they don't make enough money.
It's just a fact of reality.
Yeah. Like, you know, now I think that Amazon is hopefully, you know, going to break this trend and stay the right course, and stick with like the Final Fantasy 14, where like it's cosmetics and you can't get anything that's really pay to win. You know, I'm going off of third-party information on that. I haven't played Final Fantasy 14 in God knows how long, so, you know, if I'm wrong, let me know that I'm wrong so that I don't keep saying it. Yeah, so let's talk about how the pre-orders work, how the codes work. So if you order it on Steam, it should show up in your library as New World Beta. If you were previously in the preview event and you hid in Steam, look at your hidden games in Steam. You can Google how to do that. It might be in there if it's not showing up already. Crownbreaker is a perfect example of that. He was a dum-dum and hid his and finally found it, you know, 3 days later. If you order it on Amazon, which you can do if you haven't yet done that, there's a link below that you can go to our affiliate link and I'll bring you straight there. It supports us, doesn't cost you any extra. That said, if you order it from Amazon, they're going to email you a code that goes into Steam to add as a game that'll then show up as New World Beta. You can't preload it yet. You'll probably be able to preload it probably Monday or early Tuesday. You know, and then from there, like, it's a whole thing. That said, there is about, they're saying there could be up to a 48-hour window. 48-hour window post pre-ordering on Amazon to get that code emailed to you. So that is a huge difference. If you pre-order it on Steam, it's going to be boom right there, like no additional steps. If you pre-order on Amazon, there could be a delay because you're talking about their ordering service, talking to their Amazon, game service, talking to an email service that then has to come to you, which may or may not hit a spam folder, which then you have to then take that code to Steam to enter it in. So you can see how there's a number of steps here that could take a little while, and you might miss something. So, those are things to consider. Additionally, if you pre-order on Amazon, you're not charged until the game launches. So there's a potential benefit there.
Yeah.
Now, if you pre-order on... oh, that's terrible news. Final Fantasy XIV has character boosting up to the level cap of the previous expansion. They also have main story quest boosting up to the Oh, god damn it, guys. Come on.
Well, now we know. At least we know now.
Like, it's just, like... People tell me good things, and then, like, I get excited because I'm like, oh, finally there's an example of the shining city on the hill, and then, like Rome, it dies. Like, it doesn't have... Okay, so, like, there appears to be some, like, dispute over this. I got this from a message from somebody, so, like...
I think the thing is it's a little bit nuanced, probably in the same way that maybe not the same way,
you
but
get to
like
level
it's
50,
nuanced.
Not to the level cap. Okay.
Yeah.
So like it boosts your level, but not like all the way up there. Okay. So like it's that's still pretty bad. So like comparatively speaking, going back to like what New World was discussing doing with the rested XP, where like rested XP being a pool of XP that you then have to log in, that pool of XP growing the longer you're away from the game, that you then have to log in and earn that XP. And like what they would consider like boost for that would be like how quickly that accumulates while you're offline.
Yeah.
That would be a big one. Sorry about the bot. It does that. I apologize ahead of time. Like it's like New York police officer level like aggression. We're working on sensitivity training for the bot. I'm sorry.
I'm working on like shouting the ear
for,
off
like,
of somebody from Streamlabs to actually include a degree of like sensitivity training for that bot. But like, eventually it will happen.
Yeah, one of these days.
Yeah.
So. There's a huge difference between that system, that passively gained XP, like XP buffer that allows you to earn XP a little bit faster the next time you log in. It doesn't actually give you XP. Versus like, I'm gonna give you my credit card and you're gonna boost me to a level, like instant, like World of Warcraft level, like swipe, I'm a level 60. That's obviously not cool. Like, there's a hard line in the sand. Like, don't do that. That's silly. That, like, devalues anyone's contributions and anyone's efforts to get to that point in the game. Like, wow, bad.
That's pretty bad.
But, like, you can obviously see the huge difference in between the two. Massive difference. But yeah, I wanted to hit on that because that's a big one.
It is important.
Market by distinct area, township, by the items.
So?
Sorry, I'm reading chat. There's some good stuff going on in chat here. I really like the market system in the game. Like, simply put, like, I really like the market system in the game. This is coming from a guy who made trillions of ISK and EVE Online with markets. So, like, being able to buy and sell stuff is kind of a big deal. Being able to buy stuff and then relist it is kind of a big deal.
Being able to see, or like, being able to see what's available in different areas is really great. But like, not being able to just straight up purchase things like from anywhere is also really, really important, really good as well, because it creates local markets. And being able to see stuff from from
there will be
anywhere in the map.
No pay to win.
Yeah.
I actually really appreciate their statement on this, like their official statement when they were talking about the cash shop, because like the information about the cash shop leaked for one, and two was taken out of context. But there is no pay to win stuff in the shop. On launch, there is only cosmetics. They might add additional stuff throughout. They're considering like a battle pass type thing. We don't know how that's going to look. I'm sure, as with everything else in the entire cycle of the development of this game, the community will be a part of that process. Like, we will assist them in drawing a hard freaking line where it's supposed to be. Their comments on this was, we do not want to do anything that gives another player an advantage over anyone else via buying anything. So, big thing there. From there, they have promised to show us that they are serious on that. And I can tell you that, like, I will be one of the first people, as a Reddit mod, I will be one of the first people lined up to go tell them where to put it if they cross that line. Like, you know, I will join the pitchfork mob if they cross the pay-to-win line. They haven't. We're good to go. It's going to be awesome. I've been playing for 3 years. Like, literally, it's been insane. You know, we've played thousands of hours of this game, and they have yet to ask us for any money. Up until, you know, up until, like, the pre-orders of the game. Of which, like, you know, at that point, like, I'd basically played so much of the game that I kind of felt I owed it to them to give them a little bit of money, but, like, you know, and even then, the game itself is $40 for the standard and $50 for the deluxe, which is a low price point. You know,
oh yeah,
especially considering they added a year's worth of development onto the game.
And that doesn't come cheap. That's like, you know, in terms of like sort of average pay, you know, between, you know, everybody at the studio for an entire year, you could probably estimate that to be around 17 to 18 million that they just, you know, threw down to you know, add content and stuff like that to
who's my money on? Shroud, 100%. Shroud, Sacriel, Team Covenant, 100%. Like,
we have to support our Covenant boys.
Oh yeah. How do they justify such a low entry point? So here's the long and short of this. Amazon is different than any other company out there. Here's why. They're massive. So, you know, EA is getting to the point where they're rather large, but, like, look at, like, the baseline studios. They have to make money. Like, these smaller studios have to make money. Amazon Games doesn't actually have to make money yet. Here's why. Amazon has a tendency to take parts of its business that are still growing, that they know are going to lose money. Amazon Games is a perfect example of this. It has lost them a lot of money. They've had games flop. You know, Crucible being a prime example. Like, the game straight up died less than 2 weeks in. You know, which...
I mean, Amazon Fresh is like a loss leader right now, right?
Amazon Fresh is another example of this, where they're going to use the profits from things like Amazon Web Services, the Amazon storefront and logistics side of things, where they're making a ton of extra money, and they're going to utilize that money to front other areas of the business. So, you know, pay for Amazon Games until it can get on its own feet. That said, it may stay a loss leader permanently. Here's the thing with this. Bringing people into the Amazon family is more important to them than it is anything else. You know, on top of that, it's a tax write-off. If they take losses on something, it's a tax write-off. Boom, done. Like, I mean, reinvesting in your business, tax write-off. Boom, done. Like, you can see how, like, oh, hey, sure, they spent at least $18 million on probably salaries alone last year, you know, delaying the game, you know, 12 months. But, you know, saying they don't pay any taxes is a misnomer, because they do, but they don't pay the corporate tax, which is different. In some cases.
They have the money to be able to pay the, you know, to pay intelligent people to figure out, like, how to pay less taxes. Yeah. Like, they don't pay no taxes, but they do pay, you know, it's understandably good practice for a business to be able to figure out how to pay less taxes, especially when you're a company like Amazon that makes such a shitload of money.
Exactly.
I guess
Now,
that's just the reality of it. Like,
yeah.
do I think it's right? No. But
Hmm.
is it the reality? Yes.
Yeah. And here's the thing with this. They don't, as Amazon Games, because they're being propped up by other areas of the company, they don't have to make money. Like, for Amazon Games, strategically thinking, it is more important for them to build a studio that gamers trust, that are going to turn to for quality games that they know are going to release in a good shape, than it is for them to build a game that they quickly ruin and deface the community's trust with. Like, you can see, like, the long-term play there is obvious. Like, if you have the money, you keep
And
you keep the
yeah.
loss, but you build up additional games, you build up additional backing before you start trying to pull anything.
And the other thing is, like, you can see that, like, clearly Amazon have have had the right idea here, because Netflix is now getting into game gaming in various different facets, right?
And
So
yes, AWS
so
lost money
clearly,
as well for years until they invested into it.
yeah,
Yes. And then from
yeah.
from now on, now it's the majority of their income. Like, it's the majority of their profit margin. And that profit margin is so massive that they can afford to run a
It's about
multi-hundred
putting,
million dollar loss gaming studio,
yeah,
for the sake of,
it's all
because we
about
can.
figuring it's all about figuring out how much investment is required into an area that you want to develop, to the point where it becomes, to the point where it becomes like where you get, like, I wouldn't say terminal velocity is probably not the right term, but, like, when you hit, like, critical mass, right? So, for example, if you want to think about it in a different kind of, completely different term, in a completely different sort of category, right? If you take something like SpaceX, right? The amount of money it costs them to develop and put up the Starlink satellites is exceptionally huge. Do you think that they've turned a profit on it? Not a chance, not yet. Do you think they
But
will?
soon.
Fuck yes, because they know that they worked out that they know that the investment that is required is quite a lot, but the potential profits is huge. But it takes
Now,
time.
there's some other aspects to this too. Like, it's not like Amazon's got a crystal clean past either. Like, there's some news out there that's not good. But, like, a thing to note about this is that Amazon employs more than 700,000 people. So within that 700,000 people, this is not creating excuses or anything like that. It's very important to note that you're gonna
Just,
have bad people by raw
just
numbers.
yeah,
Like, there will be some. Um, you know, is what it is. Like, I've hired and fired people. Like, you know, you
it
run
just
into
happens.
people that have the best intentions but are literally the worst at their job, or the worst intentions and the worst at their job, um, and everything between. Um, but and those things make the news pretty often. Um,
Of course, they want to shout from
yeah,
the hilltops about it, because they feel like
and
it.
yeah,
Because they feel like that's the most the most important thing that has ever happened, because it's happened to them.
and they are not interested in this game dying. There's a reason that they delayed the game and showed people, like, hey, we couldn't have launched last fall. Here's why, and let people play it. Like,
And plus, the other thing is, people, after the preview, they said, like, the game has potential. There are issues with it for sure, but there's also a lack of content as well, like a lack of mid to high level content. And so they listened, they went back for an entire year and put some hard graft in and created a whole bunch of content. So yeah,
Exactly.
you know, you can't say that
Yeah.
you can't say that they don't listen, and then turn around and say, oh, you know, they're delaying it constantly. It's like, well,
Yeah.
it's because they listened to you because you said that it needed more work.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, you
And
can't have it both
that's
ways.
the other thing in chat. Amazon can delay their games easily because their owners aren't breathing down their necks. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, it's true.
you're not being held back by your venture capitalist support who's like, yo, where am I getting paid? You know, instead you've got,
Well, no,
you
you
know,
it's not held back. It's like you're not held to ransom,
yeah,
pretty much,
yeah.
by you know, by people who want their you know, who want their quarterly returns, right?
Apologies, the bot can be a little aggressive,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to language. Like, I'm, it, it is what it is. It's an Autobot. It only times you out for 1 second.
We
I
we
apologize.
we can we can like still read that though, so it's all right.
Yep. Do you think there would be surprise on the open? Be a surprise open beta? So okay, I have talked about
Yeah,
this at length on every stream for the last couple of days, and I want to show you guys something. I actually want to show you two things. This will tell you like the craziness that is my life, that I happen to have, you know, a variety of things like on hand, and like the value of this Discord. Like people like give me crap sometimes because like I you know keep pushing the Discord because like there's a bunch of useful shit in here. We've been tracking stuff for a year and a half. Like, you know, I've got every Reddit post that's ever been made, and you know,
it's
every
funny
Twitter
like,
post, you know,
it's
all of the
funny
original concept art.
it's funny as soon as you said like, you know, keep pushing the Discord, and I literally hit enter to you know, sort of push the Discord kind of link in chat. I was like, oh damn it.
So
It's a good Discord though.
I'm gonna dip away from the normal coverage here, and I'm gonna talk about this. So this is a thing that we developed. The time.graphics
Oh yeah,
is the
yeah.
program that we're using. This program effectively tracks all of our major events. So way back when, in 2017 or 2016, TwitchCon announced, or at TwitchCon, Amazon announced the new worlds in development. So long time ago. Then we heard nothing for a while. Alpha 1 kicked off, not a lot of fanfare, you know, for this random invite. A leaked page came out that they were considering launch, and something had happened that they canceled the beta, canceled the launch prior to it even being announced. It leaked that that was going to be a thing. So then we went on. It was without almost any fanfare. The Alpha 1 ended. They then said, we're going to need to go do some work on the game. We'll be back in a little while. And then December, they kick off with a ton of stuff. They start talking about things, and you know, this kind of builds into Alpha 2. Alpha 2 comes out, people start saying, hey, game needs a little bit more. Game needs a little bit more. Guys, we really shouldn't do this. Beta 1 gets delayed. So beta gets delayed the first time. COVID's hitting, like, you know, we need to reevaluate some things. And then from there, guys, I don't think this is going to work. Guys, I think we need to delay. You know, community was pretty prevalent on it. We need to delay. Beta gets delayed again. They have the density test, which is public notice, so that's on there. And the preview event, which basically was the line in the sand. Like, of course, you know, this is the thing we need. Like, you know, we need to explain to the community why we're doing what we're doing. Here's the version of the game that the alpha was. Like, here's why. Like, play it, get attached to it, because like this is what's going to come out, but we're going to add to it. You know, here's the stake in the sand. Like, this is the direction, but at the same time, like, we need you to know why we're not releasing now, and reward you guys for following us as well. Like, that's the whole thing. So then it you know, dips away for a little bit, and they come back for Alpha 3. Alpha 3 goes off, and you can see a difference here in the amount of effort leading into launch. Like, it's huge, like a huge ramp up in media coverage, etc. And then you've got the beta, then launch. Now, the question itself, I didn't forget, is this period right here. Now, is there going to be an open beta? They have said on Twitter, no. They have said on a number of places, no. It's not going to happen. But, because I don't come unarmed to a gunfight here. This was for 30 minutes to an hour on the bottom of one of the patch notes.
Yeah.
Now, that means this made it through some sort of QA process. So, hot take, they may have accidentally confirmed this. This was on Reddit, the whole works, like, you know, and then it disappeared, like it got taken away. You know, could be a thing, might not be a thing, but look at the giant freaking gap here.
Like, I mean, it is almost a month, dude. Like, it's like what the closed beta ends July, August 2nd or August 3rd, something like August 2nd, I think. Right, end of August 2nd, and then it's like from the 2nd to the 31st, like there is like a big gap of like nothingness. And like, if
I was them, you know, I would throw a 2-week open beta in here, though.
Yeah,
like there's totally enough time. It would, like, if the closed beta goes well, there is no reason that they shouldn't say, boom, let's drop the freaking hype bomb and do this, because they've got the time built in. They've got, like, that would be crazy. It would be wonderful to do. Like, in terms of like a media storm that would come from that, it would be amazing. Are they gonna do it? They said they weren't on. They exclusively said they weren't on Twitter. Are they going to change their minds? Maybe. Are they not? Like, maybe not. Like, there's no way of knowing that. That said, I just wanted to, like, hit on that could be a thing. And now we'll go back to our previous content here and actually show some game video. Now that I'm done spurging about what could happen. So, you know, now, it could have also just been a typo that I'm reading into way more than I need to, and that they needed the additional time and felt that the hype wouldn't be affected by any amount of delay there. Like, is what it is. Like, I could be entirely wrong. Or I could be right and, you know, be Nostradamus. Who knows? What server are we joining? We haven't picked the exact server yet. We're going to be on US East for sure, but we haven't picked the exact server quite yet. We're waiting for a couple of other groups to kind of like pick the exact place, and we want to make sure that like we're with certain groups but away from other groups.
Yeah, we're trying to be agile. We're trying to be a little bit agile with where we're going.
Let me find the. I want to see the server list, so let me find the server list.
But we do know that we're definitely going Covenant. So, you know,
yes,
just so you know.
Server list. Boom.
I'm expecting Atlantis. I'm expecting Atlantis to be super high pop in North America East.
And
like I just expect it.
These are
and
the server
thank you very
locations.
much for the follows and everything, by the way, guys.
Yes.
So yeah,
like
these
straight
are,
up,
these
thank
are
you
the
guys for the follow. Like the amount of support on this is friggin' phenomenal. We've never streamed to 200 people before. Like for a rather small group of people, we're infinitely grateful for all of the support. Don't forget about us when all of the big names are streaming in the coming days. Like if you hit that follow button, you know it does a lot to help us out. And it does a lot to like remind you that, hey, we exist. Like we've been here. We are the longest running talk show for New World that exists out there. It's that record is between us and Studio Loot. Like we started just slightly before them, and we highly recommend their content. Like it's a very friendly thing. Like 100%.
They're awesome dudes. They are awesome dudes.
Nothing but love between us and them. They're straight up great guys. Bordy and Redbird, awesome people. Check out their content on YouTube. Infinitely grateful for that.
Yeah,
they also work really well. They work really closely with Taken, which he's the guy who is behind NewWorldFans.com, which has a ton of resources, like absolute ton of resources that you should check out prior to launch. It's got build calculators, etc. Like, totally worth the look. And now I'm going to return to reading chat because there's so many things coming in that, like, this is one, like, for people that haven't had the opportunity to do this, streaming to 5 people is a certain feel. Streaming to 20 people is a certain feel. Streaming to 50 people is a completely different feel. Streaming to 200 people, you guys are blowing my freaking mind.
Like, let's just put it this way, right? So when you're streaming to like five to sort of 15 people kind of thing, like you do tend to sort of like grab onto the questions in chat and like, you know, make them last as long as you can, because you're never entirely certain like when the next you know, legitimate question is gonna come up. You know, 50 it's a little easier. When it's at like 200, like you guys like, you know, smashing it out the park kind of thing, like we almost have to pick the questions because they're coming up so fast, and that's really
I'm really happy there's two of us plus a couple of mods to like help pick stuff out, because like we are pseudo prepared for this. Like it's always like that in the back of your head, like, and we've had like discussions of like, oh, you know, wouldn't it be great if we were like big name Twitch streamers and like you know, and it's like, yeah, but we don't have the infrastructure for that. We should bring on mods, and you know, and it's like, oh, but we don't need mods. We only stream 10 people. Like, it's great. Like, you know, and then now we're streaming, like, you know, literally blowing my mind, streaming to 200 plus people.
Thank you.
You know, thank you infinitely. I want to take the opportunity while there's a ton of people, thank our Patreons, thank our subscribers, thank our followers, thank just the average Joes who are just watching and straight up making my day by just asking questions and letting us share the information about a game that obviously we're passionate about. Obviously we've played the shit out of this game for the last 3 years. We love having the opportunity to share this information. It's one of the reasons that I'm as active as I am as a mod on subreddits. Like, it's why we're here. So I was like saying that because literally, without people to stream to, what are we? You know, we're just some dudes sitting talking to a camera. So, you know, we will not forget that either. Like,
I like to think that we're entertaining in some way, shape, or form. You know, so
I'd like to hope so. At least, you know, people seem to enjoy the sultry sound of my voice. But you know, at the same time, like, it really does mean a lot to us that like people hit that follow button. They subscribe. They do all these crazy things that, like, you know, you look back a year and a half when we did the first stream of this, where we streamed to 4 people, like.
But then again, we've also come quite a way as well, because like I remember our first stream. Well, actually, our first stream that no one will ever see is basically because you hadn't actually clicked to save VODs, so our stream finished, and then we were like, oh, let's check that out, you know, and then we were like, where's the VOD? Like, oh crap, we didn't click that button. So
our first show is forever lost to the wild.
And then the second one we had, like, I think we went halfway through without it, like, you know, without, I think, my microphone actually sort of coming through the stream at some point, like, so it was a bit broken. But like, yeah, so we've had our fair share of you know, learning the ropes to some degree. So I'm glad that like people are enjoying our content.
So there's just a ton of good questions going on here. Jeff Bezos is going to space on the same day as the beta opens. Coincidence? Possibly.
Cheers.
Although Jeff Bezos doesn't work for the company anymore.
Yeah,
he's
cheers
retired.
Also for the 200 bits, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
I've heard that Elon's going on Virgin Galactic, sorry.
Yep.
At some point. It just sounds ridiculous to me.
So the staff ability Blink was removed. It is no longer in the game. So if you remember that from the preview, that does not exist on the life staff anymore. Yeah. So like, important note, that's not a thing anymore. Yeah, thank God. Should I buy this game? I mean, you can pre-order it, try it in the beta. If you don't like it, return it.
Yeah.
You know, so should you buy it? That's up to you. You know, should you try the beta? Sure, why not? I don't see any reason not to.
I mean,
can I take all 6 skills from one weapon? So, no. No, you actually can. You
actually can. You can do all 6. You can do all 6, but you can't use all 6 unless you use 3 and then you swap them out, but then they'll be on cooldown until they're cooled down, and then you can do them again. But like essentially you can have all 6 available, but it's just like the amount of points available for you to sink into the trees, you can never unlock all of the trees, let's put it that way. So and that's by design. So the idea is that you have to make a decision as to what you want, because you can't have it all as it is.
So stagger has also changed. Stagger is way different now. You no longer stagger people on light or heavy attacks. You're if you want to affect them in a way that is going to knock them off base, you need to use abilities that have crowd control. So, and there are a number of them. Most weapons have some sort of crowd control ability of some kind, whether it's a slow at least or something like that. A lot of them have ones that'll throw you on your back, like the spear and stuff like that. But you're no longer gonna get the hatchet stun lock that you had in the preview. That's straight up gone.
And I think
that plays infinitely better than standing there taking it from one guy and going, I can't even swing back. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, and one of the reasons why that went is down to the fact that like, and it's not because they people just straight up like complained and it just complained it out of existence. It was not that simple as such. Like, to some degree, you have to have a combat system that is sort of understandable from just a logical perspective. If you're being constantly if you're being constantly staggered, then it doesn't make sense that technically there is a way to get out of that, to get out of getting staggered constantly. It's not in any way apparent as to how to do that, which is precisely the reason why stagger was removed, because the complexity of the system was not apparent, and essentially people got it understandably aggravated, but that they couldn't get out of it without realizing how to get out of it.
Yes. And it was super obscure knowledge that it wasn't taught in game. It was something that you learned after fighting for hundreds of hours. That, I can roll after X amount of hits, and there's a couple of iframes there. It's that's not information that the average Joe is going to have. And
understanding iframes, and if you don't even know what iframes were, I didn't for quite some time. Iframes are individual frames of an animation where you are invulnerable, and knowing where those frames are and being able to utilize those frames, capitalize on those frames to get yourself out of situations is really hardcore knowledge, super hardcore knowledge about how the gameplay kind of works, how the combat system works in the game. And that's not knowledge that is logical to people coming into the game. So you can't just do small tweaks to make it slightly better. You have to literally look at it from a fundamental level and go, okay, well, what we've designed may seem kind of cool, but it's not understandable to people. It doesn't make sense. So we need to come at it from a different direction.
Yep. For those that don't know, I'm also running management of the subreddit for r-New World Game on another screen and replying to mob mail and stuff over there. So I'm triple tasking here.
Impressive, dude. Impressive.
Yeah, it's definitely an ongoing fun.
Are people freaking out about the poll?
I mean, one sub is probably freaking out about the poll because their main mod committed to doing what the poll says, and for people that enjoyed shitting on each other, the other subreddit is definitely going to have some challenges with the response to that poll, considering they committed to merging if that poll says
Finishes.
says people want that as the majority. If the majority say r-new world game is the subreddit, their head mod has confirmed publicly that they will close down r-new_world_MMO and merge to r-new world game, which is massive news.
Yeah.
Like, that said, our head mod hasn't said anything, so like we're not like committed to the outcome of that, but like since they did, game on. Like, love to see how that poll's going. They'll run it for a little while. My comment to them is I'd really like to get this solved by like launch of beta. So like I know people don't really want to hear about like the whatchamacallit. They don't want to hear about Reddit drama, but like this is actually huge news to 25-30,000 person subs on subreddits on Reddit are going to be potentially merging after years and a massive amount of like drama between them that goes really deep. Like the former mod teams, like the current mod team of the other subreddit is good guys. Like we have no issues with them, but they're all new. Like the old team that was there, the alt-right crazy genocidal crazy people, like there is some like that were constantly being asked to resign. Like those guys, we had some problems with them. There's a reason that the r-new world game started up and is become like the place to be, because like it's,
but just so you know,
way more like inclusive. It allows you to actually talk about the game without like getting dumped on by every shitty person out there.
But just so you know, just to make sure that people are understanding, like those were the old mods.
Yes, those are the old mods, not the current mods.
Like the current mods are actually pretty cool.
Yep. Apologies for the bot. It's a little oversensitive. Only times you out for one. Will the new world MMO, new_world_MMO? I'm gonna say it like that every single time because I want people to vote based on what they're going to have to say for years. Like, are we gonna add the mods over to New World Game? Yeah, we'll take all the active ones. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No reason not to. Like this again. This isn't a power thing. Like, it's a difference in like how the mods have been run for years, and if we all come to terms with, hey, here's the vision, here's what we're aiming for, here's the moderation policies that we're going to go with, then absolutely, and if they can get on board with those things, then super.
Exactly.
If they've got a problem with that and abiding by those rules, then they might not stay around very long. Because like we aim to foster discussion, that's for sure. Good, bad, and ugly, but at the same time, like fighting ideas and fighting people is our boundaries here. Like we want people to fight ideas, not people.
Exactly.
On subreddit, like in game, fight people, like murder each other, like in game, 100%. That's the whole purpose.
It's difficult to throw a spear into an idea.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Here, we're gonna skip ahead to the PvP again here.
Yeah. In terms of system requirements for decent sort of decent performance. Like honestly, in the preview at least, I played on with a 1070 8 gig and a 10-year-old Xeon server, Xeon server grade CPU, was a 6-core CPU, and like that was just 1080p medium settings, and I had decent frame rate, and I was able to stream as well while doing so, and it was okay. It wasn't the most fantastic, but it was all right. So if you've got if as you said, like an i7 3070 gig, like
you'd be probably fine.
Yeah, you're fine. you are totally fine. Like,
so one of the
but it
things you can
depends.
do is look at GPU and CPU hierarchy charts. There's good ones on like Tom's Hardware, and like the other one is actually called like CPU hierarchy or something like that.
CPU benchmark or something.
Yeah, CPU benchmark, and like look for their recommendations from their FAQ, and then look for yours and see where it compares on the charts. Their recommendations didn't show up on the charts when I looked yesterday. So like, if your shit is within the last like 5 to 8 years, you're probably good. Like,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
you might be playing it on lower settings, you know, but
I mean,
like, it's gonna be good.
You know, if you're playing it in 8K, you know,
Yeah,
like
you're gonna want a 3090.
you're gonna be stretching hardware, right? But like if you're playing it like 1080p or 1440 or maybe even 4K, like I know you play 4K every sort of A's, but if you're playing 1440p, ultra ultra HD, then you'll be able to get 144 hertz out of it easy. So you do not have to worry. But I think A's and I feel for the people who are kind of like looking for graphics cards, because like I know you've been looking for a graphics card. I've been kind of I've been hoping to sort of get a 3070, for example. Prices haven't exactly been that great, but it looks like prices are going to be coming down, so you never know. Fingers crossed, right? 2022 might be great in terms of graphic for GFX sales.
I'm the first person to say you're not the first person to say we look alike. What's funny is like we're thousands of miles apart. And didn't know each other prior to playing EVE Online, so we're in no way related either.
We didn't start wearing hats at the same time either on stream. In actual fact, if you go back to the first few ones, like neither of us are wearing hats, and then and then I was wearing hats, and then I wasn't wearing hats, and you were wearing hats, and then
we tried variants of like me wearing a hat, you not wearing a hat, you wearing a hat, me not wearing and then like all of them in between. Now we just wear hats. Like
these weren't premeditated either. These were just like random situations. Like when you go back and look at the videos, you're like, what's going on here, guys? Like, you trying various different things.
Oh yeah,
it looks weird.
Absolutely. Like it's really
looks funny.
Like it's really been cool. Also, like the viewers state, yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, like we got raided by almost 200 people, and the fact that most of them are still here is blowing my mind. Because like that's generally not how Twitch raids work. Like most of the time, people are like, oh, like I don't know these people, like I'm gonna move on. Like it's blowing my mind that we're still at and around 200. Like, yeah.
We got matching handbags, right?
Oh. All right. What other questions you guys got? Is there a reason streamers wear hats? It's so we don't have to comb our hair.
Also, in actual fact, there's another thing. In actual fact, the bands on, they can get kind of grimy, but if you're wearing a hat, then it's okay. Then they don't.
Yeah, I mean, right now everybody's hungry for New World content. Like, it's insane. I mean, like it's obviously like the receding hairline, and like we're not young. We're not young anymore.
No, like, no. I mean, you might have a receding hairline. I have fucking too much hair right now, and it's unsightly right now. So that's why I'm wearing a hat.
I don't know if it's a receding hairline per se, but like I do the whole like flip to the side thing. It's not like a comb over, but like getting some grays in there from work. For those that don't know, I work in emergency management, so the last like year and a half has been kind of a shit show for me.
So don't feel sorry for him out there, by the way, guys. Like, you know,
Yeah,
he
don't feel bad
literally
for
went
him.
into he decided to go into it because he thought that it'd be great because he would have job security.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
jokes on him right now, right?
yeah. Job security for friggin' emergency management. It'll be wonderful. You know, it'll just be hurricanes and all that. Like, you know, and it's like, no, it's,
Massive
you
global
know, all of a
pandemic
sudden
one day.
pandemics are my problem, and
Fucking Jesus
you
Christ.
know, oh god, it's a whole fun deal. If you guys are if you're the type of person that can, with no training, take a task that is something that you should not know how to do and figure out how to do it, and or get the people involved coordinated enough to do it, then you probably do well in emergency management. Problem solving is the name of the game.
Yeah.
So that's my spiel about emergency management. But you know, let's talk New World.
Yes.
What else can we say? Simply put, the beta's coming. We're so close, I can freaking taste it. The hype is palpable. Like, the fact that we're streaming to 200 people tells you that the hype is palpable, because
oh yeah.
the New World category on the New World category on Twitch had, like, up until like last week, maybe 30 or 40 people in it on a good day. And now is a lot more than that. Can you explain grit attacks?
Oh,
Oh
oh,
boy.
grit. Oh, grit.
So
This took me a moment or two to actually understand the game as well. So, like,
yeah.
you know,
do
I
you want to take
completely
a swing
understand.
at this? I'll let you swing at this one.
So, okay, so grit is basically your ability to you know, to continue an attack regardless of what happens. That's basically the gist of it. And so when you do a grit attack, it basically means that your attack is uninterruptible. Essentially what that means is you know, you can't be interrupted, and someone can't, like, you know, pull you out of doing that particular attack. And in doing so, if you're the target of a grid attack, I believe you can't block it, you have to dodge it. And so that's really the essence of it.
Mm-hmm. So how do you know a grid attack is coming at you? The person or NPC will kind of glow with kind of like a white glow around them, and that'll tell you that, like, you can't block that, you need to dodge. So, like, it's not that you are 100% guaranteed to get hit by it. You're guaranteed to get hit by it if you're standing there. But like, block or dodge is kind of important at that point. You know, knowing what you can and can't do. Like, when you're out killing NPCs, like, practice different things. Take the opportunity to learn how to dodge, how to mitigate damage coming in from another entity, because it's fundamentally the same thing. You know, if you can bob and weave around somebody with a hatchet, you know, and you know, knock them down without taking any damage, then yeah, you're going to do really well in PvP if you can do that in PvE. But you need to learn the raw skill of dodging and blocking, and, you know, when to throw attacks, when not to, when to throw your abilities, when not to. You know, that's huge. You know, absolute madness. You know.
So in terms of weapons that, like, we're going to be probably end up going for. For me, it depends. For me, playing US East, like, I have to kind of temper my my desires for which weapons to use based on my ping. Like, some weapons are, you know, very much the preserve of low ping. Like, you can literally see it in the footage that you're watching, right? You'll see me trying to shoot A's with a musket, and basically never land a shot, and that's because of ping. There's a so there's definitely certain weapons that are much more forgiving with a higher ping than anything else. So I will probably be I'll likely be sort of choosing between it'll probably be in the magic weapons, to be fair. They have a lot of AoE kind of attacks, which are a lot less, a lot more forgiving in terms of ping. I'm not entirely certain how I'm going to deal with the slow velocity of the heavy and light attacks, but I'll see what I can do. But it's kind of between that and probably I'll probably go like healer every so often as well, just because it's a good support kind of role for a team. So always a worthwhile thing.
I'm probably gonna go with the Dex Constitution build. So like my favorite weapons: rapier, hatchet, bow, musket. I know I just listed like half the weapons, but like those are all Dex weapons. So
exactly.
big fan of those. Do I think some weapons are still going to need major nerfing? I think there's some weapons that might need nerfing. Like, as with any MMO, there's always going to be a meta that develops where like one thing beats another, and like there's going to be the go-to for most people. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that they're going to work on. They've shown, at least in their patch notes, that they're willing to adjust things on the fly. They're willing to change things. I don't think that we should expect any less from them post-launch, in that they're probably going to, run balance pass on things. Does faction affect PvP? That heavily depends. If you're in a faction, it heavily depends. What do you mean by affects PvP?
Let's put it this way. Does faction affect PvP? Well, if you're in a faction that has a very low population on a server, chances are, doing the 50 on 50 wars are not really going to go your way if you're heavily outnumbered, for example. So, yeah, factions do affect PvP, but like, is there one faction that is great at PvP and one faction that isn't? No. Like the sort of like the differences are for the most part cosmetic.
Mm-hmm.
And cheers for the follows, by the way, guys. It really helps.
Make sure you guys hit that follow button. Like, it really does help. It does do a lot. One of the biggest things that it does is it allows you to know that we're going live again at another time. Like, I know a lot of you guys came in from another stream, so like, you might forget that we exist. It happens.
Totally understandable. Yeah.
McLeod is going to be playing on North America with us. He's been pretty consistently playing North America with us, so I'm sure in his downtime he might play on another server on the EU as well.
I might play EU like once in a blue moon, but you never know.
Do you think most servers are going to be dominated by one faction? That's a good question. I don't, and like a good reason for this is that like I don't think that people are going to be that coordinated. I don't think that I don't think the politics allows for it, because too many people want to own settlements for it to be owned by all one faction. There are going to be people that break away that want to own that territory. Like, it's going to be a thing.
Beta progress, right? That is a definite no. So the closed beta is the closed beta. Once it comes to launch, essentially all the progress that you've achieved in the beta is wiped, and that is a very important thing, and that is a very fair thing. It would not be fair at all for people to to be starting for the game to start with people already progressed for 2 weeks already. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, That's so they'll reset that.
And you can sort
It's
patches.
basically a chance to like get acquainted with things, try the game. If you like it, continue your pre-order. If you don't like it, return your pre-order. Like, you know, it's not my money. Sorry, but like, I'm like, fundamentally, like, people are gonna ask, like, is the game worth getting? Like, I bought it, but like, are you gonna have fun playing it? Maybe. Are you? And am I gonna have fun playing it? Absolutely. I know I'm gonna have fun playing it. I've played it for years, But at the same time, I'm not you. I can't make that decision. Like, in your spare time, you might like Hello Kitty Island Adventure. It's not my cup of tea, but like, it's your deal. Like, if you like it, you like it. Is what it is. So like, I'll never answer the question of like, should you buy it with like, yeah or no, because like, that's up to you. Do what you want.
That's up to you, and to be completely honest, that's the reason for the closed beta. Is, you may have pre-ordered it, but like, you can try it out for 2 weeks, and if it's not your cup of tea, if it's not something that you like or isn't what you thought it was going to be, that's why that closed beta is there. Like, you can refund it, you can cancel the pre-order if you like after that, and that's completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the nice thing about it.
Absolutely.
And that's whether you've pre-ordered it on Amazon or whether you pre-ordered it on Steam. Because although it's like, correct me if I'm wrong here, Ace, but like, specifically for New World, like, because this is, as this appears in Steam, it's a separate item to New World, the full New World release.
Yep.
Right? So you can play the New World beta for 2 full weeks and still be able to cancel your pre-order on Steam, because they're not exactly the same product. They're not the same product in the eyes of your Steam directory. Let's put it that way, right? So,
and it's the same. Like, if you've played the preview, it doesn't count against you for the 2 hours played on the game when it launches. Like, why would it? It's the same for the alpha. It's a different client. So like, why they're charging you for the end game. If you play 2 hours of the final released version of the game and then return it, Steam is still going to give you your money back.
Oh hell yeah!
That's like just what they do. Like, that's their policy. That said, beta doesn't count towards that. Preview didn't count towards that. Alpha doesn't count towards that. If it did, I'd be freaking like 3,000 hours over. Like,
yeah, so like so many hours over. Like,
Yeah. So like, I'm not at all worried about it. Yeah. How many characters can you have on a server? I believe you can only have. I want to say you can only have 1 on a server, but I don't think they've like nailed that down yet.
No, they haven't nailed it down, but what they have said, and it does get misquoted quite a lot, is, and you can literally go to newworld.com and go to the free, FAQ page, go down to where they say, how many people will be able to play on a server, and they say you will be able to play with over 1,000 players, or basically the I don't remember verbatim what it said, but the phrase was over 1,000 players.
Yeah.
And that's the point. Like, they haven't said that, they haven't stated a cap. It just gets misquoted.
There's a reason they haven't stated a cap either. Like, here's the thing: as the map gets bigger, you're targeting a player density number. You're not targeting a like. You're not like Lumberyard as an engine isn't limited by we can only have 1,000 people, or we can only have 2,000, or we can only have 5,000. You could have 15, 30, 40,000 people on a server. Are people's computers going to be able to handle the frames and dealing with like the amount of information that they're going to need to transfer to get that? Probably not.
Probably
but
not.
But like,
man.
That accounts for like what makes it comfortable in the world. How often is seeing people going to be like, how many people can go run stuff in a certain area? Like, let's say the town board quests give off, go kill 5 wolves, and there's 30 people trying to kill the same 10 wolves. It's going to be a rough time. So like there's a player density aspect of things that like you don't want too many people in one area, or like, you know, it just kind of like it doesn't work as well as you would want it to. So that's kind of an important aspect of it. The adding more people as the map gets bigger makes total sense, because like sure, you're gonna have pockets of people, like it can handle it, like it can handle, you know, a ton of people on grid with each other, like that's not a problem. You know, it can handle a ton of people in the same city. Like if, you know, almost the entire server wanted to hang out in one city, like I think it'd be funny, but like, you know, people's frames are going to be like a frame a second, but like that's just because you're rendering, you know, however many players. That said, like, you know, the server's not limited in that way. It's limited, like the limit that they're going to create is going to be based on what is a good feel for the players running the game. You know, if you're constantly having to wait for like quest objectives like bosses in the world to respawn, then that's not a good player feel. The player density is not right there. So then like that's what's going on here. That's why the number is not firm over 1,000, because like it could also change. You know, as they add new zones, that changes the amount of land available. It changes where the level 60s are going to be transitioning to and playing through, and you know, all those kind of things. You know, you want to make sure that things are spread out, and you want to make sure that like you can get a ton of people on there, but you don't want to be tied to a specific number. So I know that's a very like convoluted answer, but that's the reality. Is it's more complex than that, and it's I can tell you it's over 1,000. You know, I would argue it's probably in the ballpark of 3K, maybe more. Like, you know,
we'll it's a case of like we don't really truly know, and it'll only become known sort of really after launch, like after everybody gets their hands, every possible person is able to sort of be able to play and be able to push the servers to its max capability.
It will be over 1,000 people per server. I guarantee that. Like easy 100%. It will be over 100. It will be over 1,000 people per server. Like, where that line is drawn above that is entirely up to like HES and like, you know, what the best feel is, and that might be something that they're actually looking for in the beta. So that might be variable depending on the server. In fact, like like here's the thing: if I was them, here are the tests that I would run for the beta. The server that all of these major streamers are going to be on, I would jack it up and go, this is going to be on the creme de la creme of hardware. This is going to, like, this is what I would do. This is not necessarily what they're doing. I would allow anyone and everyone to join that server, just massive amounts of people, and then I would see if the server like see what it does. Like, see
see
like,
how it
see if there's just truly mass chaos and like large scale PvP battles in the open, like, you know.
But the other thing is also you know, to see how the player experience is, because if the server holds up but the player experience is absolute dog shit, then you know you have to kind of go like, even though the server held up, I don't think this is the experience that you want people to have to deal with, like day in day out, right?
Do you think New World could handle 100v100 territory wars? I think so.
Oh, easily, yeah.
You would need a better reason to like spread them out a little. Like here's the thing: like the server can handle a lot. People's clients and your computers, like there's a limit there. Like the server, like the way that Lumberyard shifts resources and those kind of things allows them to scale really huge. Like, you know, like they can go as big as they want, but like your computer is gonna shit itself if it's gotta handle, you know, player models and directional positioning and model animation for all of those people moving around in one spot,
as well as all of the effects. You know, there's all of the particle effects going on as well. Like, you know, you have to remember that, and all of the lighting effects along with that.
thank you for the
There
follows,
was
guys. Thank you for the subs. Like, it really does mean a lot.
all the support is great. There was a question about controller support a little earlier on. I believe that the current line is that they would like to have Amazon would like to have controller support eventually, but I don't think they were going to be able to get it in for launch. But there is a workaround, and it's something that I tried on the preview. There is a third-party program called WASD, which you can get. I'm not sure whether I don't think it's freeware. I think it's paid software, but I don't think it's that much at all. But that basically allows you to completely rewire controller support for keyboard shortcuts. For keyboard kind of basically you can rewire any key on your keyboard or mouse to any controller pretty much. Like I've used a DualShock 2 controller on a PC, which shouldn't really be a thing, but like it can be a thing using the software, and it also has really good support for dead zones and sort of like movement curves when it comes to sort of like the joysticks and that kind of thing. So it's a really good piece of software for that. When not supported or in any way kind of like in any way by WASD, it's literally just a program that I found that I really, really like specifically for that. So
yes. That said, like, it had some limitations when you were in the preview, like, splitting stacks of resources was...
Oh yeah, that was a little bit of an issue.
There was some limits there.
Yeah.
That said, like, they have made substantial efforts to ensure that the game is accessible. So, like, accessibility devices are something that are incorporated in. You can remap all of your keys, or most, if not all, of the keys.
You can remap most stuff. There's also colorblind support as well.
Yes.
I believe.
So
you know,
there's a number of like really cool things that they've added in. It wouldn't surprise me if they added in some additional... What are your thoughts on the Fire Staff? I think that it's useful. I think it did also receive a nerf post this. So, like...
Yeah, it's not as powerful as what you are viewing.
That said, like, Junie does kill me several times here. So, like, I would argue it was not wildly overpowered in this particular set of circumstances. How competitive a smaller company can realistically be versus big guilds is the only solution to recruit or merge. Regarding PvP missions, influence to become Vanguard. So, okay, one of the biggest changes that came recently is the system in which to be declared the Vanguard. It's still random chance, however, it is a weighted random chance. So, like, there is an opportunity that you could still get it, but you're going to get more of a percentage chance based on how many PvP missions you complete, how much influence you actually change, and all of that. Like,
and I do believe it's
potentially be the Vanguard as a very small group.
I do believe when it comes down to declaring war, only the companies who have actually put some effort into the influencing the territory to the point where you can declare war. I think it's only those companies that have actually put some effort into that can actually declare war. I believe that is the case. So you can't just have like a whole bunch of companies that haven't done jack shit just dogpile in and and then end up getting the Vanguard. So like that's a very important thing.
So I'm gonna counter what's been said here because
oh shit really?
Not what you said, what's said in chat.
Oh, okay.
PvP is the end game. There is elements of the PvP that is end game. You can obviously PvP. Second you join a faction, you can then flag. So like mechanically speaking, you can PvP at almost any level. That said, like I think the PvP comes alive at level 60, like for Outpost Rush and Wars and etc. Like I think it really does come alive at level 60. Now, PvE, there is plenty of content. they have released a ton of stuff since the preview that, like, if you're getting bored doing PvE, like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, you know, go run an expedition, go run elite points of interest, go run any of the many missions they've added, go run town board quests, go run faction missions, go run you know, invasions at level 50 and beyond. You know, go try and break into different areas that are potentially higher level than you. You know, group up with people in the open world. Like, there's a lot of content. Outpost Rush only starts at level 60. Yes, it is. Yeah. Outpost Rush is end game content. There's a reason that they want people to make it to the end game, even the casual players, because Outpost Rush really makes the game shine. Like, there is a nice cherry at the end of that road for grinding to 60.
And I do think that for the preview, or not for the preview, well, I think the preview had this, and I think the closed beta will have this as well. But I think I think in terms of in terms of progression to 60 is going to be a little bit you know, I'm not sure quite how severe it's going to be, like, but I wouldn't be surprised if progression to 60 is accelerated just so people can get to 60 comfortably in 2 weeks, so they can try out all the end game a lot of the end game content. But I'd like to say that don't expect that level, that, you know, velocity of progression to be the same at launch, because, you know, at launch you have months and months and months, years and years and years to do whatever you want, right? Like, you don't have to get to level 60 in 2 weeks or in like 1 week, kind of thing like that. So you know, don't look at it as, oh my god, they're nerfing, you know, they're nerfing the XP grind, or increasing the XP grind, you know, specifically because they want to sell you something. You know, look at it as in the sense of, in the open beta, or in the closed beta, sorry, not the open beta, in the closed beta, you know, they want people to be able to achieve level 60 and experience some of the in-game content in 2 weeks.
Exactly. So, can I rapid fire answer a few questions from chat here?
Yeah.
Is there a reason to keep running expeditions once you're level 60 and geared? Most of the end game will be PvP. Yes, money. You know, is open world PvP free for all or only against other factions? It's only against other factions. However, you can duel anyone. So regardless of if they're in your faction or not, you can fight with them. How easy is it to group with people? Pretty easy. Like, just ask people, like, in your faction or in your company, or like, you know, when it comes to an expedition, I'm gonna show this off at the beginning here. Like, see how there's a bunch of people just like chilling around the front of this expedition entrance? Like, this is gonna be what it's like. You know, go see if you can join a people's group. Like, there's always going to be groups looking for people in the recruitment channel and etc. Like,
and
just talk to people, they'll get you in. Like,
when it comes to things like expeditions and stuff, like, you don't have to be in the same faction to be able to run an expedition. The group that runs an expedition can be, you know, mixed faction, as far as I know.
Yep. You can be from any factions. You can be from, you know, wherever. It doesn't have a matchmaking built in, so, like, you know, you go up to the entrance of there, like, you've got to be in a group. So, like, you can find people that are interested, chat. You know, there's a recruitment channel in game, use that. You know, there's going to be groups looking for people, I guarantee it, because everybody's going to want to run them. Seems most consistent money will come from settlement taxes, so PvP, I mean, it depends on the settlement you own. Some settlements are going to be very popular, some settlements might not be nearly as popular.
It also depends on the bonuses from the settlements as well.
From there, 5 group bonus does... Can you clarify on the 5 group bonus question? I'll get back to that one. Is there any kind of story campaign? They've added a voiced over to a lot of the storyline quests.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of lore to be had in the game, and the expeditions add a lot to the story of the game.
So there's I mean I probably don't want to call it a bonus as such, but if you're grouped up, with other people, you will get XP from anything that they get XP from to some degree, I believe. So if they kill an NPC, you're gonna get, like, because you're grouped with them, you're gonna get XP, in that kind of sense. I don't know whether you would consider that to be a bonus. That's just like shared group XP as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is there a company recruitment tab in the game? There is a company recruitment channel in the game. There's also a subreddit devoted to just that, which is r-New World Companies. We backed like the New World game backed that subreddit as like the only other subreddit that we like really suggest, because like that's where you can go to just like spam those adverts, and like not having them in the main sub was kind of a big deal to us, because like it would bury us.
Yeah.
You want the content that's relevant to everybody, not just relevant to like specific servers. So like that was one of our big things on why we suggest that as well. I'm sure there's going to be recruitment on the forums as well. We're recruiting, so if you join our Discord, you can join the 9th Legion. Just X up and say you're interested in joining the 9th. We've got plenty of spots. It's open to anybody. Our recruitment process is literally, hey, you like stabbing stuff? We like stabbing stuff. Let's go stab some stuff. Yeah.
Oh, just a little thing. Marla kind of came by with an absolute awesome kind of little sort of news drop, as it were. That there was actually a dev coming in and saying that they will actually have controller support for launch. They won't have controller support for the closed beta, but they will have it for launch. And it was actually Windsor.
All right. So that's probably the Reddit, or it's probably the Steam.
Yeah, it was
Steam dev account. Yeah. Yep, that makes sense. What's the max number of members you can have at a guild? 100. Keep in mind that number might change, could change. Like everything's up for grabs because like Amazon's got a tendency of dropping massive patch notes with little notice. So, is what it is. So we have been going for almost 3 hours. This has been probably one of the greatest streams of my life in terms of like, this is up there with like live commentating on INN for the M.2 battle or MTech 2 battle, which was like, that was 20,000 people watching, but like
that was pretty funny.
That's also not like something that we've been like labor of love trying to build up over a year and a half. So like it really is cool to be able to stream to this volume of people, the amount of follows, the amount of subscribers, the amount of bits, the Patreon supporters, the whole works. You guys are why we do this. Fundamentally, we love it. We love being able to answer the questions. I know you guys are going to have a ton more questions. Come join the Discord. We will be in the public chat channel post-show. Might need a couple of minutes because it's been 3 hours and I haven't gotten up. So, you can do the math on certain things there. Might be a minute, but like post-show we'll be in the lobby. I've got a few things that I've got to also dig out with related to the Reddit, and again, infinite thank you to everybody. Infinite thank you to I've got to look this up because I noted this down.
Okay.
ZZAV. I'm gonna slaughter the name. He rated us with an epic amount of people, and tons of people stayed. Fundamentally, that is the coolest thing that's happened to us in a very long time. Thank you all. Come join us in the Discord. Come ask your questions. We're a chill group, and obviously we love sharing news and information about New World. So,
and dispelling myths.
And dispelling all of the myths that people might think about New World and all of that. With that, You know, again, thank you all. And as I always love to say, we'll see you guys in New World.
Yeah.